without further ado, man, we need to kick this off because this is one of Charles' favorite players. And I know, Ship, you big into the NBA scenery. So right now, after the championship, Boston just won. Do you consider Jayson Tatum a top 10 NBA player in the league?
Oh, shit. I don't know. I think, to me, I feel like the championship was more for Jaylen Brown. He had a lot to do with the championship more than Jayson Tatum did. But to me, he wasn't. Wait, did you say top 5 or top 10?
Top 10.
You said top 10? Okay, yeah. He's top 10 regardless if he wins a championship or not, to me. Like, whether without the championship or with it, he was top 10. You looking like that? I guess you got a different opinion.
Yeah, that's making my skin crawl. I want to hear Charles first before I annihilate the both of you.
Man, that is not my favorite player whatsoever. Shit, but I feel like he is top 10, but we kind of hold him to a little bit of a standard. Like, he obviously ain't like number 1, number 5, or nothing like that, but he definitely on the back end. Because it's like, did he have a great series in terms of like scoring? No. Like, he had off nights and everything like that. He had cold shooting.
Charles, it's okay Charles, you can say the truth. Hell no. You know how you kind of elaborated a little bit, like you being too nice. Do you have a series? Good series.
Can you name me 10 players better than Jayson Tatum right now, TK? And if so, sure, I want you to name them for me.
Oh, what? That's not a problem. Jokic is better than Tatum. Embiid's better than Tatum. Giannis better than Tatum. Luka's better than Tatum. LeBron's better than Tatum.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, cool. LeBron better than Tatum. Shea better than Tatum. Jalen Brunson's better than Tatum. Anthony Edwards better than Tatum. And we gotta wrap it off to make it 10. Because that's a simple 9 right there. But if I want to give me a 10th, I really don't gotta look too hard.
Seem like you is.
Shit, Kawhi better than Tatum.
Yeah, this nigga's out of his mind. Kawhi hasn't played a full healthy season. When was the last time Kawhi played a full season without getting injured? Can you tell me the last time? When was it? When was the last time he played the entire season without getting injured?
Probably a bubble, but
so 4 years ago. And then you said Luka's better than Tatum, but didn't he just beat him damn near sweep?
But what does that got to do with like who's better than who? Bron lost to the Warriors.
I'm better than you. If I just beat you at something, I'm better than you at it.
So Kevin Durant is better than LeBron James because he beat him more times in the finals. Is what
we're not talking about them.
No, but I'm saying with your logic, if you're saying that's your logic, then that's the case. Then everybody, like, if you win, that means you're better.
I was better than you this year. Yes, I won the championship. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA because they won the championship. Wrong or right?
I mean, the Celtics were the best team in the league, yes, but it's people. When Matthew Stafford won the championship for the Rams in 2021, did we say Matthew Stafford was the best quarterback in the league because he won the championship, or did we all know it was still Mahomes? But they had a good season. It was a good team win.
My point is, you can't say I'm not the best if I beat you if I win that's like saying I'm in a championship I win a championship at a tournament and I'm not the best. We're not the best team. Like, we are the best team because we won it. How can you say that? Or like I am the best because I won it. Like, okay, that's cool. If you beat me the next time, you won it this time. You was the best this year.
That's like in our terms. When we went to Dallas and we played QDOT, my junior year, your sophomore year, and we beat him. Anybody on our team, we couldn't say we were better than him because we knew none of us on that team were better than him. The better player lost the game. We just so happened to be the better team.
So you're talking about?
Am I right or wrong?
But then I feel like if you don't have Jayson Tatum top 10, regardless, he can't do anything to crack your top 10, regardless on any type of. That's just anybody.
Yes, he can.
No, he can't. He just won a championship. That's not good enough to make him top 10.
I mean, performance is a key factor into when you determine these players. It's not just off of if you win a championship. It's off. Are you getting held to that superstar standard as every other player in the league? Because I promise you, if LeBron James had another player on his team that would have pretty much outperformed him throughout that final series, media would be killing him. So like the fact is like with Tatum, our expectations for him, we lower them and like kind of baby him in a way, not realizing what he has around him with pretty much, we got to be honest, Jaylen Brown got snubbed this year at the All-NBA team. So he has another All-NBA performer in Jaylen Brown, which he proved in the playoffs by winning finals, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He won the finals MVP, and he was the best player throughout the finals, arguably between him and Drew Holiday throughout the whole finals. So I'm sitting here saying, like, I've never seen a best player. First off, if Luka didn't play up to MVP Luka standards, and they got killed. Jayson Tatum didn't even play up to regular season Jayson Tatum standards, and they still 4-1 easy to math.
So I got a question. So if you say, do you think you said Jaylen Brown was the best? He was the best player in the series, right?
Yeah.
You saying
I'm talking about on that team. That team,
not on the Celtics. Okay, on the Celtics. But I'm saying, Jason, who was getting double teamed the entire series? Jayson Tatum was. He was getting double teamed and it was helping. So I've never seen the best player not get double teamed. That's all I'm saying. And then he averaged 22, 7, and 7 for that in the NBA in that series.
That's
I don't know.
If you ask me, I don't know.
Averaging 22, getting double teamed and helping is crazy. Averaging 22.
Right. Calm down. Now let's just hit. He was not getting Luka treatment. Like at the end of the day, Tatum was getting guarded up straight. If you're a good player in the NBA, it's always gonna be help. Help's coming somewhere. No one-on-one player in the league can just isolate you and do what it do. Now, am I saying Tatum is a bad player? No, not at all. Every good player is gonna get double teamed, whether you like it or not. And it's not like it weren't no stuff like as soon as Tatum touching the ball, 2 coming at him immediately. They
sitting there help. We gonna guard it straight up, but we got 2 other people on the side that's gonna help. We got Drew Holiday as a roamer sitting on the back. He gonna roam everywhere, so anywhere you try to go, he's gonna be there. I mean, not Drew Holiday.
Truthfully,
they got help.
Truthfully, if I'm being honest, it weren't too much double teaming going on, in my opinion. I just think Tatum doesn't take the most smartest shots when he's playing the game. He's taking a lot of sidestep jump shots, a lot of mid-range jump shots. Yeah, but that's what equates to his ineffective play, which gives him the criticism as we give him. Why you go to the playoffs and you finish with 39% in the finals, with people arguing for him to be finals MVP, people arguing for him to be top 10 in the league. But if any other players that I named that I think are better than Tatum right here and now had a series like they did with their respective teams, would they be hosting the trophy at the end, winning the finals, and getting all the accolades? Any other of them players, if Jokic played Tatum style basketball, played like Tatum in the finals with his team, could the Nuggets win that series?
Could they? I mean, I think. Go ahead.
Well, let me phrase the question so it's easier for everybody to understand. Charles, I want your answer too. So, if any one of those top 10 players that I listed I said Luka, I said Embiid, I said Bron, I said Jokic, I said Brunson.
And you said Kawhi. Let's not come on now. We got to address that, but we're gonna get to that in a second.
Okay, now Kawhi,
that's what you said.
I said it, but
if we've been real though, Kawhi most definitely can be if he wasn't, if the injuries didn't like limit him, he's for sure.
But they have though. That's we can't.
I ain't gonna lie. He lasted longer this season. In the sense, but he
still couldn't finish it though. So that I'm not. So Tatum is better than Kawhi. You see, I said it. Curry. Okay, that was the name. That's the name I missed. It was Curry. Now that's 10 for sure. I missed out on him. That's 10. Curry, Bron, Luka, Embiid, Giannis, Jokic, Ant-Man, Shea, Jalen Brunson. That's 9. I'm not missing one. And Luka, 10. Easy. But get back to the original question. Out of those players that I just listed right now, if they played this level of series that Tatum just played in the finals with their respective teams, do you think they could win the championship?
You want to go first, verse?
Yeah. I mean, obviously no, but that's not really a detriment to Tatum though. Like that's a kudos to the construction of the team. Like you can't hold Tatum against that. Like,
But
okay, they got a great team. They got a great supporting cast, so he can have a couple of off nights. That's understandable because the Celtics have the best roster in the Eastern Conference, debatably in the NBA, if you compare them to the Nuggets. Obviously, you take Shea away from his A game, the Thunder ain't the Thunder. And ain't Ant-Man, then the T-Wolves is trash. Like, you do that for a lot of teams. Understandable. But, like, you can make that same argument for Tatum having a great supporting cast. Like, if you take away KD from the Warriors back in their dynastic days, you do that for them. They still got Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, all them role players, and they still thriving. You can't really do that for a lot of teams, which is why the Celtics are in such a unique position.
Yeah, I agree, and that's where I was going with it too. I mean, that just shows you how good the Celtics really are. The fact that Tatum can play mediocre and they still go win the championship in 4-1 the Mavericks. That's
Shit, he got an all-star. He got an all-star team. So it's like, yes, well, shit, he got an all-star team. So it's like, but they still shouldn't allow him to play mediocre. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you're Jayson Tatum, man. Let's talk to you being top 10, top whatever in the league. You still got to play like up the par. Like, there's no reason. I ain't gonna say that there's no reason because Jaylen Brown better than Jayson Tatum. There's been debates about this. I feel like not Jayson Tatum. I feel like Jaylen Brown better. That's just my opinion. He took over. Shit, he earned that Finals MVP, bro. Like, that nigga played out of his mind. Like, if I'm being honest.
That's the thing that pisses me off, though. Like, how in the world can we sit here today and say that the supporting cast is good around him? So so we're essentially letting him off the hook for being mediocre, but we're gonna still consider him top 10. Like, at the end of the day, it's like is Tatum a top 15 player in the NBA? Yes. Like, like saying that he's not top 10 is not a crime. He made first team All NBA, averaging 27 points a night on somewhat efficient shooting. We know Tatum standards when he's playing at his highs. We know the level, like what we're expected to see on a night-to-night basis when we watching Tatum play basketball. So I'm saying, why is it a crime for us saying, hey, Tatum, we just want what you can act like. If you can come out here and you can play regular season Tatum like basketball, you're not going to be receiving the level of criticism that you do from NBA fans. And Tatum, night to night basis in the playoffs, had more stinkers than he did great games, and that's just facts. He has a great team, obviously. Like, he has pretty much a super team. I know a lot of people don't want to say they're a super team, but that's a super team. But
yeah, more or less. But yeah, I can see how you say that.
Yeah, but it's at the end of the day, I'm like, we can't sit here and call Tatum a superstar, top 10, give him all the kudos, but don't give him the same criticism and the same scrutiny as these other players on this list would get if they did perform up to those levels. Because LeBron James been getting crucified for years.
But we can't compare LeBron James' criticism to anybody else's because it's not like anybody else's that I've ever seen. He is the most, and you know that. I think everybody here knows that it's different for LeBron, and you. That goes without saying, honestly.
Oh, well, we can go even further. Like, when Curry didn't play good in the finals, they crucified him. Curry can't finish. Curry can't this. Curry can't that. And the biggest thing that could have ever happened to Steph Curry's career is when he beat Boston and got his 4th ring, because that shut all the haters up. He did it by himself. He played up to Steph Curry levels and then raised it a level. And then that's how he earned everybody respect, because at that point, it was like, okay, you did win your ship before KD got there, before he got the 2 extra with KD, but nothing was more impressive than Curry single-handedly winning that championship against the Boston Celtics. That boosted he's pretty much submitted as the second best point guard of all time, if not first. You can have a honest debate about that. But
so it sounds like you were making it to where you're penalizing Jayson Tatum for having a good team and doing what he needs to do to win. But if he was by himself and he scored 30 or he was averaging 30 or 40, you would give him more props, like if he was to win. Or let's just say he lost, you'd be like, oh, he's just by himself, but he's getting criticized for having a good team. I don't understand that. Like, every series is different. The finals is different. It's all about matchups. I'm not going to average 30, but I can average 30 in the next one. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm not playing bad. It's just not my series. Jaylen Brown is getting more single coverage than Jayson Tatum anyway, because Jayson Tatum is looked at as the best player in league wide. That's just how it is.
But you know why that is? Because of the playoffs. It's not because of regular season. If you watch a regular season full 82 game, nobody's sitting here saying that Brown is better than Tatum. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, nobody. I don't think anybody says that.
Saying that.
So who has, when we watch them play, we see obviously the only thing, but me personally, that I see that makes Tatum and Brown just, obviously Brown's a better player, is strictly off of Jaylen Brown's confidence and strictly off of Jaylen Brown's willingness to attack the basket relentlessly and not be so much in his head and just like, okay, like I see I got one-on-one coverage. I'm gonna still go attack to get to my spot, or I'm going with my move. I'm not in my head and thinking about it. Tatum's biggest critique is, instead of him playing somewhat like, you know, Cheers, you know how it is. Like, certain people be in their head and they don't really know what they're doing, and that kind of limits them, because it's like you're so undetermined on what you want to do. We've seen multiple times Tatum catching the ball is like, do I want to drive? No, I'm gonna shoot a side step back three, and it's like, that's ineffective. That's not your game.
But is it consistent though with Jayson Tatum's play in the playoffs? Is it consistent? Because I mean, in 2023 he averaged 27.2 and 10 rebounds and 5 assists. This year it was 22. It was 5. Is that consistent though? Oh my God, that should be a lot.
You said what? Can you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Consistent with how he's been in the playoffs. I mean, what are we really expecting? He's been averaging 27. He averaged 27 last year in the playoffs, and then this year was 22, I believe.
But that's the thing, though. That 22, you're gonna get criticized for that 22.
He lost. He was averaging more. He averaged less, and he won. So what do we?
I mean, but it's all about situations too. I mean, Tatum got hurt in the conference finals last year. He was on a sprain. He was on a sprained ankle. We understood. I mean, but even till that point, they was down 0-3 to the Miami Heat team. They just so happened to run off 3 straight before they end up losing in that game 7. So it's just more the fact that, like, at the end of the day, why can't we hold superstar players to superstar standard? And that's my biggest thing. Like, I am not a Jayson Tatum hater by any means necessary. Like, I think Tatum is a great player. I think Tatum, if he can come back to the playoffs and perform up to this level, then of course I would say Tatum is a top 10 player. But as far as what I'm seeing on the court and the expectation that we put on these other players that don't have these great teams, I can't elevate you to that level just because you win a championship playing like a role player, but you're getting superstar kudos and
is he a superstar in your mind? Is he a superstar or is he just a star? Because for a while I felt like
it's like being disrespectful if I don't say he's a superstar. So it's like, I would say yes, but I would say he on a lower tier of those superstars just because he's so inconsistent. That's my biggest thing. Like, if Jalen Brunson doesn't perform up to his level, do we even think the New York Knicks even make the playoffs? Like,
no, I mean, look at the Knicks though. We're not looking at the Knicks in a way of, you know.
No, but I'm saying as the superstar player, as the best player on your team, if you don't play up to those levels or you don't raise your level of play, your team, their teams will not go anywhere. And that's what I'm saying. Tatum level decreases from the regular season, or forget the regular season, for what we expect Tatum to play like. And he does other things that role players are supposed to be doing. But we still give him the kudos because he found a way to win with a great team, instead of saying, hey, like, you're not playing up to that level. You're not playing like a number one option. You're not playing like somebody that's first team All-NBA. You're not playing up to these level of standards. So therefore, we have to give you this level of criticism until you can prove otherwise. That's what I'm saying. It's just not crazy. It's not crazy in the imagination to sit here and say, Tatum, you're not playing your best level of basketball. You're not performing up to number one level standards. You're not even performing like a first team All-NBA guy. You're not a top 10 NBA player, but you're not a bad player. You might be 11, 12. You might be on the out, like right there on the outside. But I promise you, Donovan Mitchell gets injured, they had no chance. I guarantee you, if Tatum gets injured, I promise you, Boston will still be a 50 plus win team. They'll still be top 3 in the East. They still be title contenders. Not to the same level with Tatum, but I don't think it's too much of a drop off, and that just goes to the level of the team. So that's why I'm saying, like, we can sit here and like say, okay, Tatum does all these other things well. Like, he was rebounding great, defending great, passing great, making good decisions, but was he playing up to that same level like Shea? Like, Shea answered a lot of questions for me in the playoffs. He went to the playoffs, even though they lost to Dallas. Shea played his ass off.
Why are you giving them credit for losing though? But you're not giving him credit for winning. You're taking away credit for, but okay, so I go somewhere, but I lose, but I'm just like, it's just me, and I get them somewhere, but I'm averaging 30 and I lose, but you're gonna give me credit just for getting there. But I win and I average less, but then I get penalized for it. How does that even? That don't work. I don't understand that. I can get that's like
I mean,
I don't.
What I was gonna say is if we're doing that, then we're not gonna consider you a superstar. Let's not even put you in that realm of a player. You can't consider somebody a superstar if you're not gonna hold him to the critique if you don't perform to superstar. If you don't play like a superstar, we can't call you a superstar. But if we're going off of those standards, if you have a great team and you play subpar, we can't call you a superstar. That's just superstar is supposed to elevate your team. What is Tatum doing that's elevating that team besides shooting 39%, which stinks? Charles, you can answer that question because I want to know what was Tatum doing that was elevating that basketball team that you could sit here and say he's a top 5 guy. He deserves to be first team All NBA. I want to hear it.
You talking about him specifically with the finals, like just his performance alone?
I mean, but you know, I've been in question of Tatum throughout these whole playoffs about him even being in the top 5 discussion. But now for sure top 10. So we can go off the whole playoffs in general. But if you want to do finals first, go ahead.
As far as the finals, I mean, how much stock do you put in leading your team in points, rebounds, and assists, doing something that's only been done by a handful of guys? I mean, it's only been done for a couple of times by LeBron James. He did it a few times with the Cavs and the Heat. It's been done by Magic Johnson once, and it's been done by Oscar Robertson once. So he's one of 4 guys that's able to do that for that team. That's kind of crazy that he was unable to win Finals MVP while leading those statistical categories. But at the same time, you make it seem like because his scoring averages was not the best and he wasn't the most efficient that we expect him to become, it's like he had a bad series. Was it a bad series by his standards in terms of what we hold Jayson Tatum to be? Probably. But in terms of having a bad series overall for any basketball player in the finals, obviously not. He led his team in being a great playmaker, being a great rebounder, being a great defender at times as far as help side and in terms of being an on-ball defender in terms of trying to assist with defending Luka, assist with defending Kyrie. He wasn't a primary defender for those matchups, but he wasn't at any time a bad defender, a bad matchup against those guys. And he definitely held his own and basically did what he could in order to help that team win that championship, to where it was a legitimate debate between him and Jaylen Brown. It was a toss-up to the voters for a reason. And then for Jaylen Brown to have won that Finals MVP, which he may have deserved in a lot of people's eyes, including mine, you can't sit up here and act like it wasn't a coin flip. So he definitely held his own to a certain extent.
And I don't think anybody was mad that Jaylen Brown got it. I mean, it could have went either way, in my opinion, because Jaylen Brown was hooping, but Jayson Tatum wasn't far behind him either. He was a factor in the finals, regardless of how he was. Whether you think his scoring took a dip or not, he had something to do with the fact that they won. They 4-1 them.
So let me ask everybody here this question. So, do we believe that the Celtics won that championship because of the level? Because the level of player, they're 2 best players. Or do you think they won the championship because of the collective?
The collective in my eyes.
The collective.
I say collective because I mean, shit, they were shutting down Dallas. Like,
right, hold on. Let me hear from Shift too. I want to hear his Shift.
Wait, what was you said? Do we think that that Boston won because of because of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or as the team or a collective unit?
Mm-hmm.
The collective. I told you the team when we first started the discussion. I said Boston had the best team. They were the most well-constructed team. They were the most. I mean, I felt like that when they made the trades to get Drew Holiday and Porzingis at that time.
Okay, good. So now I want all of us to just sit back and let me just rename some of these teams. And let's see if they were able to win off of just straight collective or they won off of straight their best player coming out there and performing. So let's go to last year. So does the Nuggets win? Did they win because of the collective or did they win because their big guns came to play?
I mean, to me, I think it was collective, but in the last 5 minutes of the game, it's Jamal Murray and Jokic. They had a great team, bro. And to sit here and act like it was just Jokic or just Murray we're not gonna do that.
No, we talking about who's pushing, who's elevating that team. Because at the end of the day, I can sit here and say the last final, Drew Holiday was the best player, game 1 through 3. I can sit here and say Derek White has had more impactful moments in the game than Jayson Tatum. We can't sit here and say any one of those championship teams, which obviously I know my boy Shits, he's a Bucks fan. We can go back to that series. Was it a team? Was it a collective or was it Giannis? And let's be honest, because he dropped a 50 piece. So let's not sit here and
you're talking about the Suns series, right?
Yeah,
and
it was Giannis.
Took the game over, yes, for sure. He had to.
And then let's go back to the other one. When LeBron and AD won in the bubble. Was that a team or was that more of the 1-2 big guns? Because I remember Bron going out there giving us 30-point trip dubs and AD doing 80 level things at his peak. So we can't sit here and say it was a whole team collective because they went to a whole game 6 in that 2020 final because Danny Green could have hit a wide open 3. So let's not sit here and say that the whole team came to play.
But you're picking one moment. I mean, what are we really expecting? We're not expecting that much from role players, but they do have to show up. Because if my role players show up and your role players don't show up, I'm gonna win the game, regardless of the big guns that I have. It comes down to the role players when it's too big. When it's a 2-on-2, like if I got Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you got Kyrie Irving and Luka. For my big, but that's gonna cancel each other out if both of them come to play. So now it's on the role players to make our role players got to be better than yours for us to win the game. So
hold up. Before you finish it, so that's a great point you just made. So do we think Jayson Tatum came to play at his level? At his level of play, did Tatum come to play? Like how we normally would expect Jayson Tatum to come play in that series.
He had a bad series. I mean, I think that
no. Wait, pause it right there. So now we can sit here and say that okay, Kyrie didn't play a good series. Okay, we can say that, right?
Yeah, I mean he was getting. I mean, to me in those games he was getting good looks. He was just missing. But go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So now this is the point I'm making. I can sit here and say that Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday was the 2 best players for the Celtics, and nobody can sit here and call me crazy. You see, like we're not even going off stats at this point. We're going off of what we done seen with our eyes. And I know all 4 of us that's sitting here on this screen, we're intelligent enough to realize impactful players, which means guys that numbers and his impact doesn't show up on the scoreboard or on the stat sheet, but us knowing high-level basketball, we know, okay, how impactful you are to your squad. So now, knowing all of that, how many of those guys did Boston have and versus how many of those guys Dallas had? We can go down the list. Al Horford, Derek White, Drew Holiday, freaking Sam Hauser was going in there playing somewhat solid defense and give you about 10. So like I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, like we can go to Dallas and we can be like, who?
A lot of stuff, I feel like you're overlooking the fact that Boston has been on the losing side of a lot of like in the finals and playoffs period, and they have experience. Dallas has never been there. Luka has never been to the finals, and a lot of those guys, the one that was most experienced was Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie didn't really play that well. So we can't really expect that much from those guys who haven't been there. Most of the Boston Celtics have been there, and they've already experienced it. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown for sure. Drew Holiday is an NBA champion. Derek White, Al Horford, all those guys have been there before. So it's not really fair for us to say, well, what are these guys doing? What is PJ Washington doing? What is Derek Lively? What is Gafford? They ain't never been there. They should have played better. No, like there's no excuse for that. But I'm just saying experience does play a factor in that in the finals. It just does.
My thing with that is like, So Tatum has had, obviously, like he just said, finals experience. So why the hell did he play like that in the finals? If he had experience, and obviously experience makes you better and more prepared for these moments. So Tatum averaging his 22, 7, and 7 on 39% shooting, which is god awful to superstar level standards. Why didn't his play rise up? Because he's been there before. Like you just said, he's been there before. He has the experience. He's ready. He was ready for that moment, but he just didn't show up. And his team still, for the most part, that was a gentleman's sweep. They 4-1 him. With him playing low level basketball compared to superstar standards. We're not just saying like, okay, he did what he was supposed to do on this team. We talk about to superstar level standards. If Jayson Tatum played like this in the regular season, was he making first team All NBA? Charles, answer that one. If Jayson Tatum played like he did in the finals in the regular season, is he making first team All NBA? Simple yes or simple no?
No, but I have one question. What is that superstar level standard that you are looking for? Like in terms of what is that threshold? What do you consider that bottom line?
You elevate your game, or you elevate you bro. First off, you don't drop off on your regular season statistics. That's for starters. But you're elevating your level of play in the playoffs when your team needs you the most. And I don't believe, and we can sit here and say Luka didn't play his best series. But you know what happens when Luka doesn't play his best series? They go home. You know what happened when Tatum doesn't play his best series? He still has a chance to win a championship with this open team.
Because they did win. They won the championship, so how can we criticize them if we won?
Because Tatum didn't play to that level. And if he's a superstar like he truthfully is, and his impact is that great on his team of winning, they should have lost that series. If Tatum was if his impact was that great to that team, they should have lost that series because he played god awful.
But you're equating his impact to just strictly scoring efficiency. I mean, like
bro, Luka scored 20 points. He's on the bench by the fourth quarter because they down 40 and they getting ready for the next game. If he scores 20 points, if Tatum scored, I don't even think Tatum cracked 20 points, averaging 20 points a game throughout 3 games in this final. So that's why I'm sitting here and saying, like, how the hell how can we praise somebody for not producing like a superstar level player if that's all we're asking? All we ask is if you can perform up to your regular season standards, we're not going to give you this level of criticism. And it's not just strictly off of points. Obviously, Tatum, he was a solid defender. He got his rebound. He got his assist. But did Tatum do that all year long? Was Tatum just, oh my God, he just great everywhere. He's an assist man. He's a rebounding machine. And like, no, we expecting Tatum to go out there and get busy. If he can give me 6 or 7 rebounds, that's fine. But are we expecting Jayson Tatum to give us 27 plus a night? Yes. And if he doesn't give us that, is that disappointing? Does that decreases our chances of winning? Hey, I can answer that question.
I feel like yeah, it can if you don't bring anything else to the table. Like if you don't score a high level amount of points, then you have to balance it out with at least elevating or evolving in some other areas.
Okay. So my thing is how can Tatum play up to these? He's not performing up to his standards, but we still give him superstar kudos for going out there playing like a role player. Not a superstar, not a star. He played role player level basketball, and we're giving him superstar kudos. That's my only issue with this. Like Jalen Brunson didn't have a good.
What role player averages 22, 7, and 7?
Exactly.
Now we're going opposite, but so the statistics was a part of the argument because obviously we know what he averages. But now
you said he was playing like a role player, so I asked you what role player is coming out averaging 22, 7, and 7. I can't think of one right now. Did at least recently?
Well, I have no idea what role players averaging 22, 7.
None of them. So you can't say he was playing like a role player then.
But is that a superstar? That a number one level option? Is that Jayson Tatum from regular season or even throughout these first 3 series in the in the Eastern Conference before making it to the finals?
I mean, but point being, the Celtics don't look the same with Jayson Tatum off the floor, and that's just a fact. And you know that, and I know you and I both know that if we take Jayson Tatum off that court, that they look different. Put Jayson Tatum back on the court, they look better to me. That's just how I feel about it. Like they're better with him than without him. So that tells you something about the way that he's playing, regardless if his scoring has taken a hit or not. I mean, has declined or not.
But
they're a better team than Jayson Tatum.
But how can we sit here today in the NBA, as everybody here that's sitting here today knows that this is a very talented league. There's a lot of good players in this league that perform better in these playoffs or better throughout the playoffs than Jayson Tatum has.
And they lose.
How can we sit there and say that? But is that because of their individual play for the most part? Or is that because their team isn't built like Tatum's team?
You lost though.
No, that is not the case. That's not the case at all. Because we can't sit here and say if you lost, that means you better. That means you had a better team, but that don't mean you a better player. Like when people
say, so by your metrics, you're saying that you're okay with if my team is not that good and I averaged 37 in the playoffs and I was just averaging, let's just say 25, and I averaged 30 in the playoffs and I lose, versus somebody who goes to the finals and wins is averaging 22, who was averaging 30 in the regular season. That player that lost is better than the player that won the finals.
No,
by your metrics, that's what you're saying.
But my whole metric is this: if we're sitting here and we're watching you play basketball and we're saying you're not bringing it, like your impact to this game, is so detrimental where you might actually lose because you didn't come to play, then obviously you're not. That's how I kind of just critique players. Once you get to the playoffs and I see you play in that high level environment and you come to show up and play, forget the statistics. We watch the games. So we can sit here and say, like, okay, like obviously Tatum 22 points. Okay, I'm sitting here, I was saying, okay, that's bad. That's one criticism to why I say like why Tatum isn't that. But also it's what I'm watching out there. It's like, okay, if you're giving me 22 a night, what else are you out here literally like trying to find your shots? Like you're out here trying to get shots, or are you sitting out here like, okay, I'm gonna do other things well? No, Tatum was still out there chunking them shots up. He averaged the most shots on his team, so he was trying to score. So he was giving Dallas multiple opportunities in that game to come back and win those games. It just so happened, if we remember in Game 3. That game was nip and tuck, Charles. You can recall this. It was the nip and tuck game in Dallas. Dallas took the lead. Celtics came back. Whoop-de-whoop. Tatum came down, missed a couple shots. What happened? Jaylen Brown took the ball. He said, I got this. And took that moment and them final 2 minutes of that Game 3 game and sealed the deal. And that's pretty much when I said, okay, like at first it was like a hand toss, like I didn't know who was better. But now it's like, okay, like he seized the moment. Despite Tatum could have had more points to him. Tatum could have looked better. But at the end of the day, when the moments come where you got to show up and show that you're a superstar, I feel like Tatum hasn't rose and shown to the occasion enough. And it's not just strictly on points. Since that was your question. No, it's not strictly on points. It's about if you're going out there and you're impacting the game of basketball at a high enough level. At a high enough level where it's like, okay, like you're not a detriment to your team's success. I feel like Tatum, his shot chunking was a detriment to his team. It wasn't necessarily a detriment to his team's success, but it wasn't. How can I say it? Because he had so many.
It wasn't beneficial, basically.
Huh?
It wasn't beneficial for the team, basically.
I mean, not necessarily beneficial. I'm trying to think of how to translate it.
It didn't help the team win, is what you're trying to say.
Tatum played as bad as he did, and the Celtics were still overwhelming favorites. Let me say it like that. Despite the level of Tatum play, it doesn't affect the Celtics' outcome of winning or losing those games. Because they were
overwhelming. They were the overwhelming favorites throughout the playoffs, though. That don't change despite how. I mean, they were before they even They were the favorite to win it all anyway. Whenever
And that
Denver
was preseason too.
Huh?
That was preseason too.
That's what I'm
Before
saying.
the game started after
They,
all
were,
the
they had always been the favorites, and then teams start getting hurt like Milwaukee, like Miami. Even though I don't think Miami stood a chance, but like Miami, like New York, like Indiana, they were
Like
still the
anybody
favorite.
that do play. I don't know, bro. I just think it's just disappointing that we give him this level of like praise. Just that, like forget the point, like forget the points, forget the stats. Like when we sit out there and we was talking about Shea, Charles, you know how big of a critic I was about Shea. He came out there and he played. He came out there and despite them winning or losing because his other guys didn't want to show up, he came out there and his level of play did not drop. He played down there every second of those games, and he was giving you. He gave you what he gave you in the regular season and increased it. He increased his level of play to another level where it's like, okay, like Shea, you prove like you're not just a free throw merchant. Like you prove like you get in the playoffs and you can play when the game slow down, when the defenses are keying in on you, on trying to slow you down, and you still getting your 30 plus, and it's effective. It's like, okay, like you're one of them ones. You're one of them guys. When Anthony Edwards went to the playoffs, he didn't have every game he had. It wasn't a great game, but he was so key to his team success. If he had a bad game, which necessarily I think he did have a bad game in game 7. Charles, am I lying? Didn't he have a bad game in game 7?
For his standards, yeah, but he still was probably the most impactful on his team.
Thank you.
That just speaks to team construction, which is what we were saying earlier, is the fact that it sounds like you're penalizing Tatum for the fact that his team is better. I think if you take most of those people off of Tatum's team, of course I think he's going to elevate his play because he has to. It's different when you have to elevate your play versus having that comfort, like you're comfortable, like, okay, if I don't got to go and I got Jaylen Brown, I got people I can kick the ball to and stuff like that versus an Anthony Edwards, like, shit, I got to go average 30 because that's the only way we're going to win. Like I'm the man on this team. Like I have to do that. It's nothing. There's no other way that's gonna happen. It's the same thing. But if I got a decent team. Like if I don't got it going, I got another guy I can give it to. He gonna go give me 30. I got another guy give me 20, and you know what I'm saying. He gonna lock in defensively. That's just how the team. That just speaks to the team construction. I don't think we can just crucify Jayson Tatum for having that type of team. That don't have nothing to do with me. Now, if you take the team, I mean, to me, I think if you put Jayson Tatum where let's just say like a Shea is, I feel like he does elevate his play up to like what you're saying, his standards or whatever. But if I got people on my team, then I don't necessarily have to go out and get 40, 50 points. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, and we're blowing people out. It's not like we're barely getting by. We're blowing them out. So I don't need to do all of that. Like I could, you know what I'm saying? I could get my 20, we beat y'all, we go to the next game.
So basically what I'm hearing is that we can give people passes for not playing up to their level only because their team is great enough where it's like, okay, like the team doesn't need me to do this. So therefore I don't have to perform to regular season standards. I can do what I do and we can win because my team is great. And
but but you gotta think about it. That's what makes Bron so good because he's asked to do everything. He's asked to rebound, score, pass, get everybody in the right spots, guard, like everything. So it's like, of course, you know what I'm saying? If my team, that's what makes him so great because he has to do everything. That's been like that his whole career. Most people don't have that. Most people have guys, all right, we need T-Cal, I need you to just rebound. Okay, I need Amari, I need you to make sure you lock in on defense. I need you to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like like it's always been delegated to just different players on different teams. That's what makes Bron so good. So I think what Tatum is experiencing, I got him, okay, JB, you make these shots, you go get it, I'm gonna rebound. All right, Derek White, you hit your corner threes, you lock it on defense. Drew, you lock it on defense, make certain passes, right reads and stuff like that. I'm going to do whatever. But, I think that's just the way the game goes sometimes. It just depends on the team.
But but my thing is like, if we sit here and you just said the perfect example, LeBron James. Obviously, we can't compare nobody to LeBron James, which I'm not doing that. But what so means like not at all. But if I'm sitting here today and I'm saying, and if we sat up here and LeBron, let me not say LeBron. Let me say if Steph Curry would have performed just a regular season Steph Curry standard, Charles, and I want to hear Charles first. If he performed up to Steph Curry regular season standards in that Boston Finals in 2022, was they winning that? Yes or no? Just regular season Curry standards, regular season, and remind yourself that the players are still playing how they were playing. So like Draymond Green was unplayable, and some of those series, so we still accounted for all the players that had bad series.
Okay, we accounted for all the players that had bad series, and I'm assuming that applies to the Celtics as well. Because if it applies to the Celtics as well, I think so. I think they take that series still, just because of how poor the Celtics looked. But I mean,
who else? Who else would have won that series if Curry weren't? Let me remind you what Curry did. 34. He had 34, 29, 31, 43, 34, 7, and 7 to close out game. Mind you, Andrew Wiggins was playing out of his mind. I'm not going to sit here and just discount Andrew Wiggins. He was a baller. He was clamping JT and JB. He did that. Okay. But if Curry didn't put up these gaudy-like numbers, 34, 7, and 7 on 6-11 shooting from 3, 12 or 21 shooting from the field. If he didn't elevate his level of play, were they winning that series? Me personally, I mean, you could say, yeah, they are, but I can't sit here and say that if Steph Curry didn't play out of his mind, they was winning that series. I can't. If you sit here, you could say that's they were still gonna win the series despite Curry playing subpar. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with it, but that's just my opinion. I can't get down with that one.
Yeah.